Want to make sure that you see the lines moving on the thing? I think so. I think it's working.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac, Mark.
Hello, everybody. So I'm here with our third plant for the day, and this is Adenostoma fasciculatum in the family Rosaceae. This is another one of the plants that is known by the common name chamise. And the plants that we've learned in the family Rosaceae, they all look super distinctive from each other. But you might recognize some of the similar shape of the flowers from other plants. So this is a plant that more than any other is characteristic of the chaparral environment. And this is the environment that's really common in California, in dry places, also in kind of disturbed places like here, in the eastern part of the Bay Area where things are drier. Also, we're underneath some power lines, so that might have an effect here. And chamise is endemic to California, but it's not as appreciated as other plants because of its association with, superheated bushfires, which, are one of the things causing the strange color of the sun today. The shrub itself is a multi-branched kind of clump thing. It is woody, and the wood has shreddy pieces that come off, and it's red. And that's more obvious on more mature individuals. You can see the new stems don't really have that as much. The thing that is really distinctive about this shrub is that it has small, reduced leaves that are in fascicles. They kind of look like pine needles. So if you come close, you can check that out. See if you can focus in. So here are the leaves, and they're reduced. They're leathery, they're almost like succulent, and they're all born out of the same place. And that's called a fascicle. There's even a bud that covers the base of all the leaves. The flowers, when they're blooming, are white, and they kind of come out in these terminal clusters, which might remind you of another plant we've learned, Holodiscus discolor. But when they're dried, they sort of turn red like this, and where it covers the hillside, they'll turn the entire hillside red. The leaves, if you grab a few and crush them and really try to smell, especially when they're really green, they have an evanescent odor, and that's because the plant produces abundant oils and other chemicals which are useful to the plant for herbivore defense, but also extremely flammable and very similar in many ways to kerosene. So that's part of the reason why the plant is encouraging of such hot bushfires. In chaparral environments, plants have to learn to live with fire, and so they have all kinds of adaptations to live with fire. One of the strategies that many plants use is to have kind of an underground burrow, which we've seen before in Arctostaphylos, that they can resprout from. But in many other species of Arctostaphylos and Ceanothus, which we're also learning about, and a variety of other shrubs, they don't have that basal burrow, and they're completely killed by a fire. So they produce seeds that kind of maintain themselves in the seed bank and are encouraged to grow after a fire. They're encouraged by chemical signals or by heat, by smoke and other things. Chamise sort of has a hybrid strategy. So it's really good at resprouting after fire from a basal rootstock, from a burrow. But it also produces seeds all the time that are short-lived and that grow, they germinate in huge abundance after a fire. So in some places, people will try to manage chaparral environments for pasture, to encourage grasses for animals. But as soon as you set fire to the habitat to try and manage it, these shrubs will be the most abundant resprouters and things germinating in that post-fire habitat. It's a plant that is endemic to California, I'll say, but it's It's much more common in the southern parts of the state where it's drier. It's almost characteristic of those dry habitats in the way that redwood is characteristic of wetter habitats or redwood forest, but it really doesn't get the same kind of appreciation, even though it is a really awesome California endemic plant. So to sum up, this is chamise, Adenostoma fasciculatum, the Rosaceae. It's a multi-branched shrub with reduced needle-like leaves in fascicles and terminal clusters of flowers, which are sort of retained on the plant. And that's chamise.